So, well, welcome back to another episode of the I'm Not Salesy podcast, your uncensored look at selling. So, we're going to dive in today. I have such a fun guest today. I have Aimée Drost. You like that? Did I do it right? Yeah. I've
I
been
like how
listening.
you pronounce that.
And so Aimée is a business strategist and a high ticket sales mentor for premium sales mentor with premium messaging for entrepreneurs online. But she does this also with focusing on premium messaging and the strategy, but also breath work, which is so similar to me too. And we actually met in a breath work, like a year-long breathwork experience that we both joined a year ago this month. So welcome. I am so excited to dive into this today.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here today as well.
Yay. And as she's looking out her big picture window in Portugal and imagining all the fun things that she's doing, in Portugal, I'm in St. Pete. So we're kind of like looking, well, I'm looking away from you right now because I'm technically looking at Mexico, but
I'm looking inland now because the ocean
yeah.
is there.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, yeah, I was actually before this, I was working on booking flights to come to like Greece and to visit Europe in June with my family. And I'm
Hmm.
excited about that because a lot of times we end up down in South Africa or we end up like in Costa Rica or the same places, but I'm excited to bring them to Europe. But that's not what this is all about today. So I want to dive into the conversation that we started yesterday. We did a Facebook or an Instagram live together. And when we did this Instagram live, the topic came up and I wrote it down. Where the fuck did I write it? Oh my God.
I know it. I know it. It
Yeah.
was
Oh, it's
about.
right here, right in front of me. It's just right in front of me. I just have too many. You can hear the sheets moving. But we like touched on the topic of how high priced doesn't equal premium. And so you had said, oh, well, maybe I should do a talk on that. And I'm like, no, we're going to talk about this too tomorrow because I think a lot of people confuse the two and they just assume, let me slap a high price tag on something and call it a premium offer, high, and the buzzwords of high proximity and stuff like that. But honestly, I think this is a great conversation to get in about, selling higher priced offers without feeling salesy. So, where were you going with this when you were thinking of this topic?
Yeah, so I talk very specifically when I talk about a high ticket or high price, I always go to premium. That's kind of how I like the word that I like most because there's a different meaning. And I figured that out along the way because I also started with high ticket and I found out about what high ticket was. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. I learned about the business model.
Yeah.
And then high ticket is mostly just high priced. But
Mm.
if you go a little bit deeper and you actually understand the meaning of creating a high ticket offer, because a lot of coaches also use high ticket and mean the same thing that I mean.
Mhm.
But for me, there's a very big differentiation where something that is high priced is not per se premium. So for me, using high ticket is not the most true way to describe it.
Mhm.
And sometimes I do use the words to explain to people what premium means.
Yeah.
But for me, premium is really about, yes, high price. So it's not for everybody, it's more exclusive. But at the same time, there's a big difference between just paying a lot of money for something and actually showing up in a premium way and getting premium results. And how I differentiate that is mostly by looking at the type of clients that I worked with. That's the main differentiation that I found when I really committed to the word premium. I had clients who paid me 4,000, 5,000 euros for working with me at the time. My prices have increased a lot since that point. I've learned a lot since that point.
Mhm.
But also, I learned that not everybody who pays premium prices shows up in a premium way. Because I had clients paying a lot of money and not showing up at all. And for me, that is not premium. Like, sure, I'm happy with the money, but I am not actually doing this for the money. I'm
Mhm.
doing this to actually get you results. And then if you pay 4,000 euros and you don't show up, and actually they were so grateful because sometimes they did show up, they got some value out of it. But I saw a clear difference with people who show up in a premium way and people who don't. And the difference there is also that it's not about having a lot of money. Premium clients can have a lot of money, but it can also be people who really prioritize what they desire and make it work, whatever. And they are willing to do what it takes. And that means some of my clients work with me and they pay a lot of money to work with me, or they start with my lower priced offers and they work their way up and they figure out how to do it by themselves before they actually get my core level support. But there are also premium clients, I call them, who have this desire, who see that I'm the coach for them, who know I need to be in that space, and they just make it happen. And what that looks like, making it happen, could mean they put aside their ego and they ask for a loan from someone because they believe in themselves and they know they will make it back. Or I had a client who didn't have the money, but she was so committed and she got creative and she had a business from 2 years before that wasn't actually doing anything anymore. It was something about wooden toys and creating wooden toys and selling them. And she decided to sell that company because she had somebody who was interested in buying it before,
Oh,
and she didn't know
fun.
how to price it. So in like the moment that she talked with me and said, this is what I want to be in your mastermind and I'm going to figure it out, her brain just started to work to find ways to figure that out. And
Yeah.
her first idea was to ask her husband for support. He wasn't on board with it. And some people stop there and they're like, okay, well, I guess it's not going to happen then.
Yeah.
She got creative and she decided, okay, actually, I'm going to sell this business because I know people are interested. I thought it would be worth maybe 2,000, but now I'm thinking a bit more about it and I know I need to invest. I think at the time it was 6,000. So she made an offer and she actually asked me also a little bit for help. She had another coach helping her, and I just sent her like a voice note of like 5 minutes saying like, hey, I would do this and this and this if I were you. And I also was very detached. Like I was like, if she's going to do this, amazing, but it's her story, it's her path, and she will figure it out if it's meant to be figured out. And within 3 weeks, she sent me a message saying like, I have 6,000 euros, let's go. And that
Fun.
is premium, making it
Yeah.
work. And like it's a lot about a mindset that you have. You have like, yeah, maybe you wanna share a bit about your experience with this as well first.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Well, I kind of look at it like, because I've been in containers where it was like when I was first starting out, where it was like $5,000 for 3 months. And, that felt like a lot to me. You know what I mean? But then you'd get in and it was so like loosey goosey in the container. And, you know, like the mentor or whatever, like doesn't show up all the time, consistently and that shows. Like, I think if like one of the, responsibilities is if you're gonna want to charge higher price, then you've got to be committed to serving people if you're in a
Mm,
service-based business.
yeah.
And you've got to be in it for that long term because I'm the same way as you, where it's like, I started out in this thinking, oh, I want this for freedom. I want to have all this time on my schedule, and I do. But then I noticed one of my blocks starting out was like, well, if I have these people paying me a lot of money, they're going to expect a lot of from me. And what if that happens? But then what I found was, like you said, there were people who want to pay you $3,000, $5,000, and then like not show up to any of the calls. And that bugged me too, because I'm like, and it showed me, I think, how much I do want to serve and how I do want to, and I put a lot of onus on myself. Like, okay, what could I do to communicate this better? Are they just forgetting about the calls? Do I need to reach out? And I'm not one
Yeah.
to babysit because I already have 2 kids and a husband, but like, I wanted to also be like on the Voxer, hey, we got our call. Does anybody have any questions? So when people just totally ghost and don't even reply anymore, and like you never hear from them, that bugs me. Like, I'm a service based, like I want you to succeed. Like, it actually matters that you're doing better, or that maybe like if I need to do better, or if like you want certain topics covered, but nobody's going to know unless you're all in. And the all in part is about like, you being your best client too, you know?
Mm. I love that you took it like a step back because I kind of skipped over that step of you need to be premium as well. Because for me, and I guess also for you, it's just common sense that we show up in a certain way if we hold a
Yeah.
container for a high price. But
Yeah.
it's not normal for everybody. I wouldn't say I'm lucky with the coaches that I picked, because I picked them very intentionally and I really connected to their energy and I followed my intuition, but also I did some fact checks and I just know that those people were the people for me. And I knew, I recognized when they were sent my way in a specific time, even when it didn't make sense to join another coach. By now I've learned that I'm somebody who is with multiple coaches all the time, every time. Like right now I have 3 business coaches. I'm just rounding up a hypnotherapist's 6-month session.
Awesome.
And yeah, I'm just creating some space now as well. And of course, the commitment levels of all those containers are different as well.
Yeah.
But like when I found our business breathwork coach,
Mhm.
I just committed to a full year with another business coach and it didn't make sense. And I knew, okay, I need to go with her because it just makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the being premium to charge high prices, like if you're just putting a big price tag on it and you're not wanting to put in any of the work, then you are not the person for this type of job, because your clients are they're going to feel it and they're not going to get the results. So the first step of being premium starts actually with you being premium, with you showing up in that way. And it doesn't mean you have to work yourself, like you don't have to be the
No.
the hand holding mother. You don't have to be that at all, but you need to communicate clearly. You need to commit to things. You need to hold
Mhm.
yourself to a certain standard. And that's also what I teach my clients always about attracting premium clients. You need to go first. You need to be in that premium energy. And there's a certain leadership energy that comes with the position that you're claiming. And if you're claiming that leadership
Yeah.
energy, then that also means you need to go first, because leaders go first and the premium clients follow, not as sheeps.
Mhm.
They just follow because
Yeah.
they see your energy and they see that you're magnetic and they want to be in the same energy, or they are already in the same energy, and that makes them a match for you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, your energy totally speaks the volumes, 100%. And the way I see like just putting a high price on something versus putting like a premium experience together is like when you go to buy a car here in America and we've got, like Toyota's really well known and Nissan's really well known and Mazda and Honda. Like they're all kind of in the same bucket. And I think Kia's coming up there too. But like I was so shocked at how much more when we were shopping for a car years ago, how much more Toyotas cost versus a Nissan or a Honda or a what we ended up with like a Mazda. Like our Mazda was like $10,000, maybe 15 less than what the Toyota was going to be. And I really did not see a huge difference. Now, I know some people are like, well, your Toyota's going to last forever and all that, whatever. Like, I know you got my parents are Toyota freaks too. Okay. But like, I just see that as kind of like, okay, what's the value that you really get, cause I've never regretted any of like my Mazdas. It makes me feel like I'm in a BMW sometimes, and it's like the thing when we got one in San Diego. Anyway, versus going to buy a Ferrari, right? Like that's an experience. Like the Maserati, you see that one, you can like just hear it gliding down the road, right? But I'm like, if I'm gonna have a car where there's Cheeto stuff through the side of it and like there's, yogurt sprayed in the back seat, or whatever, like, okay, I think a Mazda's gonna do. So how, you know what I mean? Like you've got to be aware of like where your pricing is versus the value you're really bringing in and how you're gonna differentiate that, because why buy a Toyota if you could get a Lexus? You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, and I think also like we are both in the high priced space.
Mhm.
But if you're a premium client and you're truly a premium client, you're not just going to wait around until you have the
No.
money to actually join a premium offer. You're going to
Mhm.
do things in between. You're already going to show up like her or like him. You're
Yeah.
going to maybe join a self-study course that you can go through in your own pace, because you know you're the type of person that can carry yourself through that course.
Mhm.
So there's a big, like mostly the energy and the mindset that this premium client has is completely different. It's not
Mhm.
this like victim mindset of I don't have the money to join this program and I can only do it with this program and with this coach, so I have to wait, I cannot do anything. That's not the vibe, because what happens when you then enter the program, you're going to still be in that like dynamic of this coach is going to save me, this coach is going to do
Yeah.
everything for me or tell me everything. and you're giving away your own power. And a true premium
Yeah.
client is in this energy of, I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm the type of person that desires to be supported while I'm going that path. And I desire to go faster. So they're looking for support, they're looking for speed. And they're also willing to do whatever it takes if they truly are connected to their desire. So if that means I only have 500 euros right now and I cannot join the bigger mastermind, then how can I invest that 5,000 euros into or that 500 euros into a course that will teach me the things to make the money with my business and then to join the mastermind after?
Right. 100%. Yeah, I was so happy that I decided, like, it didn't make sense to join the, like, Alessandra's program last year with the breath work. It totally didn't because, like, my husband was unemployed and I was like, I had just, kind of, I was taking care of the whole household basically. And I'm like, oh yeah, let me just drop like $8,000 just all in one and be like, woo, yeah, and I'm not gonna tell anybody. But it felt so empowering. Like I felt like, oh my God, this is the next step to me. Like me participating in this is going to be a huge catalyst for, welcoming in what I want, like taking out what I don't want. And it was such a different energy from how I joined programs when I first started in my coaching business, which was basically like, this better work, like this is the last
Oh,
thing I'm gonna
yes.
join, or else I'm not paying one more dollar. Like I went through a long period like that because
Mm,
especially coming from corporate where I had sales mentors and I got paid a lot of money and my mentors were free. And guess what? I bitched about having to work with them. I'm like, oh my God, my manager's with me
yeah.
for 2 days. And I started thinking back on that because I was like, holy shit, like to have a 2-day VIP day with like the expert would be like a buttload of money. And here I'm sitting here with this manager who's like a great mentor and being like, whatever, just get out of my car as fast as possible, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the shift. Like I've been in that energy too, not too long,
Mhm.
luckily, because
Yeah.
I started my business from burnout. So I knew, okay, I'm actually my own bottleneck because I had my first 10,000 euro a month quite soon. And just from being in burnout, being completely exhausted, and then I had 10,000 euros, I was already working with some coaches in group programs at the time, and they gave
Mhm.
me the roadmap, and I learned to actually ask for help because that's one of the main reasons I got my burnout in the first place. So people were
Yeah.
constantly mirroring to me what brought me in the burnout and how you can actually live a life more aligned with actually like collaborating with a lot of people and receiving help. If you're also giving a lot of support to others, how can you receive that back? And by making that amount of money, I had the resources to invest more again. And instead of gripping onto that money, I decided to actually spend it because I knew my energy levels were the most scarce resource. And if I could just invest into a
Mm.
coach that showed me the roadmap, I could
Yeah.
go there so much faster. And
Yeah.
then I bypassed that energy resource, just using the money for what it's actually meant to be, like that resource that gives you more money, more time, more energy, more resources, basically. So
Yeah.
I kind of figured that out quite soon, although I think this is a mindset that everybody as an entrepreneur kind of has, because when you start as an entrepreneur and you're new to this world, you're
Yeah.
not thinking about how you're going to make like the first investments. You're like, wow, 1,000 euros, that's a lot of money. Then the next investment, 6,000 euros, that's a lot of money. Next investment, another 6,000 euros, that's a lot of money. Then
Yeah.
okay, maybe this course didn't taught me as much as I expected, so maybe I need to go a level up, or maybe a different type of story. I think by now I've invested in 4 years, I've invested more than 50,000 just in business coaches,
Yeah.
and it's normal now. I know that I want to level up. I'm the type of woman who's always growing, always expanding. And there aren't that many people in the industry anymore that I really look up to that I can still learn a lot from.
Yeah.
So that means I need to pay more because I am not done growing. I'm
Yeah.
just not. So it's something you just need to get on board with. And it doesn't mean that everybody needs to spend 50,000, but
Yeah.
you need to start somewhere. And you know how big your dreams are. You know if you're gonna make that just by figuring it all out by yourself. And it's probably not the most fun way either to do it like that.
No, not at all. It gets lonely for sure, like you've got to have your people to be able to talk to who get it too, you know,
Yeah,
and
and not just your people, also your mentor,
yeah,
because your
that's what I
people can,
mean. Yeah.
yeah, like you can have like community and friends and people who are on the same path, which is super important. But then
Mhm.
having a mentor that can actually pull you out of those things. Like today, I had a call with my clients in the Magnetic Mastermind, the weekly call that we have, and it was really time for me to tell some of my clients like, hey. And it's also because today is CEO Lab. Every first of the month, we do our weekly call focused on CEO things,
Yeah.
prioritizing projects, really being clear what is happening in the next 2 months, not the next
Yeah.
month, because you're always running behind that way, but really 2 months.
Yeah.
And then we just really focus on like, hey, okay, what are you working on? Why don't you have to have the time to do the things that you want to do? Because that's almost always a thing.
Yeah.
And what can we do less of so we have more time to do the thing that actually matters in your business? And
Yeah.
then, yeah, like today I had to call some of my clients out on like, you're working on long-term strategies, which is fine if you want to do it like that. But if you want results now, you need to balance that out. You need to focus on what gets you results now and on the long term, and not just on the long term.
100%. Yeah. I was actually having this conversation yesterday too around um I've got this goal to hit by the end of May. Like it's a big goal to hit by the end of May. And in order to do that, though, I've got to reverse engineer everything, right? I've got to
Mm.
go back and reverse engineer everything to today so that I make the most of March, and then that builds on in April, and then in May, like the momentum is going. And then but I think a lot of people just look month to month to month, and that's when the burnout comes. That's when like you feel the pressure of like, holy shit, how did it get to be, February 15th and I haven't done anything yet this month, or whatever. And I like for me the last couple of weeks, especially now, because we're actually each other's accountability partners for this breathwork certification, which is funny because I mean, not funny, that's not the funny part. Um, Talking about joining Alessandra's program last year, I remember the tipping point for me joining it was the certification. And I didn't feel like I knew much about breath work, but something in me was like, I want that certification, Even though I had not like I mean, I had done it here and there and here and there. I wouldn't call it breath work officially, but like there was something in me that's like, girl, you got to do this. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't so much about me getting something out of it, but it was about like turning it around and then giving it out to the world. And so we both have been kind of putting this off for like a year. And there's a lot in this
Well, we have been
certification.
practicing for a full
Well,
year, but
yeah.
yeah, like
I mean,
it's
as
a
far
big
as like,
shift to actually step it
yeah,
to use it in your business as a tool, because and I think it
yeah,
makes sense that it took a bit longer, because if we wouldn't
yeah,
have done it for a full year ourselves, we wouldn't have committed to this level right now.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. Totally agree. And so it's it's so cool though because now we've both like jumped in with both feet and we're very similar. I feel like similar people, we do similar things, but like I don't really count people as like competition or anything like that. I'm
Mm.
like, no, I want you to be successful too. Like, come on, let's get it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
think
so
also
yeah.
just because you said it before, and I think this is something I want to highlight extra for whoever is listening, about the energy of it needs to work now,
Yeah.
otherwise I'll quit.
Yeah.
Versus I am so freaking committed. This is gonna work. This is who I am as a person. This is who I am on a cellular level. This is how I show up forever. There
Yeah.
is no doubt in my body that like I'm building my business right now. I don't know when people are gonna watch or listen to this, but I am gonna hit the 100K month mark. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be a
Yeah.
millionaire. And it's not if, it's when. And when you move like that, then all your investments, all your efforts, they become so much easier. And that's
Yeah.
also showing up in a premium way. Because if you're always carrying this backpack with thoughts of it needs to work now, and if not, it's their fault, or it's this person, or maybe I'm just not cut out for it, like all these negative self-talk and external talk, it's
Mhm.
not serving you. So
Yeah.
drop it, drop
Yeah.
it, and be open to receive what actually needs to come through. And when you can focus fully on that, like I know it for myself to be true. I know it for my clients to be true. I see it in a lot of people who operate on the same level. It's really dropping the resistance and going all in, because when you do that, you get results faster. And that's what you
Yeah.
see with all the people who are, I think they're like, how I see it, they're still a level above me. I'm still working with mentors who are definitely above me. And I can also see in the future, it might be more people who are next to me.
Yeah.
And what I see for them, the people that I worked with, also the people in the mastermind that I'm in, it's this, like, they go so fast, like really incredible results in just like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I'm only 2 years in this business, so there's still a lot of shifting happening, but there's this tipping point after around 2 years. So that's why I'm also really excited about this year, where everything just explodes and there are like results that are unheard of.
Yeah.
Like 100K month, like for me, I am sailing towards that goal,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also still quite far away. It still feels far away. But in 1 year from now, it's not going to be. And that's insane if you think of what you can make in corporate or what you're told that you
Yeah.
can make when you're growing up or in university. And then knowing that this all started with me investing 1,000 euros in this Dutch guy who lived in Bali because he was a high school dropout. And I thought, okay, if he can do it, I can for sure do it because he doesn't even know how grammar works in the Netherlands. So what the fuck am I doing here getting a burnout in this corporate job? Let's just change this and I'll invest my 1,000 euros, which felt like so much money. I didn't tell anybody. I just
Yeah.
saw this ad on YouTube. I paid it. I was like, okay, let's do this. I think in the end, I told my partner and I told a few people and I started using my network to get my first clients through that. Then I realized the whole thing wasn't for me and not for the market that I was in. So I got another business coach that was more aligned. But this is all like part of the process. Like I knew he figured it out, so I knew for sure I could figure it out. And
Mm-hmm.
that's I think something that is very unique in the space that we are in. Like when you really have that hero mindset, when you really are showing up in a premium way, you're dedicated, you know this will work out. There's just no way that it wouldn't, because you know that you can do it and that you will find the support and that you will do no matter what it takes and you'll just keep going. And that's, I think that's premium, to really commit. I kind of like how I see this is commit to the highest version of yourself. Always checking in with the highest version of yourself. Am I doing this for the right reasons? Am I doing this in alignment with my growth path? And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like the conversations people have with their inner child, but then
Yeah.
with the highest version of you. Like I invite her into the room very often, especially when I'm making big decisions. And then I ask her like, hey, where do you want us to be in a year from now? What decision aligns most with that? And for most of you, whoever is listening, it is going to be making the premium investment,
Yeah.
because then you go
Totally.
so much faster.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah. And especially if you have like a long-term view of your business and you're not using
Mm.
it as like a get rich quick thing. Like I think one of the parts and the pieces you have to find is then I will say a caveat, like while everything is fluid, right? Things are constantly changing. The industry's changing, the world's changing, the people around you will change, your mentors may change, even what you teach on may change, but like usually the main theme of what you're doing is going to stay around the same. And so like I asked myself early on, like if I won the lottery, would I still be doing what I'm like would I still be selling what I'm selling today?
Mm.
And for a long time it was like no. Like, I'd rather just be like, I don't know, sitting on a beach somewhere, like, not worry. But like once I finally found the yes, where I was like, oh hell yeah, like I can't get enough of this topic. I love the transformations I see. I love it when people's eyes light up or when they're crying because they finally have that breakthrough. Like it's such a big I mean, it's so much more expansive than just the money. And I feel like that's also a big part of this premium selling and experience is being able to see yourself doing this from anywhere in the world, but if you want that kind of life, but like from any age, you know what I mean? Like if you're
Yes, but also
you know
I would say, when you, like, the version of me that I can see right now for myself,
yeah,
I can see a lot for her. But when I'm there, there will be so many parts that I have never seen before. And
yeah, exactly,
this moment of shifting between, um like, I've been very in love with my business a couple of times. And I've also fallen out of love a little
Yeah.
bit a few times as well. And when you feel that, how you handle that determines how far you will go. Because
Exactly.
for me, falling out of love with a part of my business is just a sign like, hey, you need to change something again because you evolved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you
Yeah.
do that, you fall in love again and again and again. And it's like a relationship. You choose each other
Yeah.
over and over again. And it
Totally.
doesn't mean you
Yeah.
fall in love with exactly the same person, but you fall in love with each other again and again and again.
I mean, my dog is like, she's like scratching herself. So if you hear I think she's
I
saying
don't hear
ding, ding, ding.
anything.
Oh, you don't hear it? It's like ding, 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 ding. Well, yeah. But also I think there can be for some people though, this dynamic, because what I went through was more of like, and maybe it's because I spent like 20 years in corporate and in sales and corporate where I'm told this is what you're selling. Now go out and sell it and this is what you should do and these are the metrics you should have. And so and I am so susceptible to, well, you should be doing blah blah, like the people pleaser and the
Mm.
accommodator and like which we've spent the last year removing. But I could see where that was showing up so much. And I was like, on paper, I should be teaching about this. Like on paper, this looks good. This is what I'm great at. But there's this line between what is your zone of excellence and what's your zone of genius. And I feel
Mm.
like my zone of genius gives me this like rainbow of possibilities where like I'm 45 now and at 65, I could see myself still standing in front of a room full of people and taking them through a breath work that like changes their life, or like hosting a retreat in Bali and having people come from all over the world and having a team doing
Let's
like
do that. Let's do
obviously,
the retreat in Bali.
you know what I mean?
I can see that
Yeah.
too.
And like being able to travel and like I would fit this in to travel versus if you asked me like a year and a half ago, if you had to stop what you were doing, if you're in Greece and lead a 1 hour call on Tuesdays, how would that work for you? And I'd be like, fuck, how can I push that off? But if I'm
Ah.
there and I'm like, oh, well, you get to do like a 1 hour breath work thing for this, for this group or whatever, for your mastermind, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's get into it. I need to get in that vibe too. So I think there's also that dynamic that could be present where you're like selling what you think you should be selling, adding a high price to it, and it's not selling because you actually aren't honest with yourself about whether you like it or not, or whether
Whether
you're
you
like,
love it or not, because you
love it.
could even like it, but I
Yeah.
think premium offers, you can sustain that for a while if you like your offer.
Yeah.
But if you love it, it's a
Yeah.
different ball game. You're energetic. And that's also what I help my clients shift through when we create the offer. Like, is this really what you want to be doing? Because it starts with the premium niche. That's where you start.
Yeah.
And then from that niche, when you have a niche that you can commit to, and I teach it in a different way than just picking the client avatar, because it can be very restrictive that way. But when you have a niche that you can commit to and you can see at least the next 3 years you serving that niche, I don't mean that you have to, but that you can see it for yourself, then you actually start to fall in love with those people because you know how to help them transform based on who you are.
Mm.
And I think that's one of the biggest things when you, like, you said that you wouldn't, for what you did before without the breathwork, you wouldn't do that on a holiday. I actually would have, and I've done it because I travel quite a lot,
Yeah.
but also because of the shift that I made from high ticket to premium.
Yeah.
Because when I was doing high ticket and I was hand holding and I still had, like, I could see that those clients were really, really cool people, but it was draining me because I was
Yeah.
kind of like forcing them to join and to do things. And then the next check-in, they didn't do it, or they did like 10%. And it was exhausting. And it made me doubt how good of a coach I was. And I
Yeah.
see this also with my clients where they feel like maybe they're not good enough. But it's not
Mhm.
about being good enough. It's about knowing how to market yourself to attract true premium clients. And it's not just about attracting them, but also activating them. So even the person who seems like a Debbie Downer or a negative Nancy, it can also be triggered by your marketing. If you use pain point marketing and you activate the pain of a future client, they come with you in pain.
Yeah.
And if you change that, if you use high vibe messaging and high vibe strategies, what I teach my clients, and I think you're also on the same team of
Yeah.
that,
100%.
then you actually attract people who are in a high vibe, who are ready to take action, who are ready to transform things.
Yeah.
And that's when you actually start with, how do you say, like maybe 10 versus 0. I don't know how you say that with goals in English, but you have like you're 10 steps 10 steps ahead already because they are in the right mindset. They are in the hero mindset. They know they can do it. They believe in themselves. They're on that path anyway, and they're just asking for some support. Versus
Yeah.
the other person who comes in and is like, okay, I don't know what's happening. I think I'm going to give up, but you're my last chance. I'm going to try it for the
You're
very
my
last
only
time.
hope.
Right? That's high ticket,
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
premium.
I've been in a program like that. I've been in 100%. I joined a 1-year program with a business coach who's a lovely person, but she attracts very needy people in victim mode, and they
Mm,
don't move. They don't really get results. And like we'd all join based off of like, oh, I'm a 7-figure business earner and I just do this all day. And this is how I make my thousands of dollars. And like, I love you if you're listening. I absolutely love you as a person. But like, there comes this point where like people aren't getting results because not because of what you're teaching them, but because they're just the wrong audience. And if you're speaking
mm.
constantly to people who are identifying with struggle, or it's okay to take, X amount of
And I'm not saying it
time
never
or
works,
whatever.
right?
Right.
People can still get the results but it's just a
Hmm.
smaller amount and it's so much
Yeah.
heavier to carry being the
Hmm.
coach in front of those people.
Yeah.
Unless you love and you feed off that dynamic. I don't
Yeah.
know who's
I think
the
some
drama
people might.
triangle, but
Yeah.
that's really what it is. If
Yeah.
you want to be the savior, then you thrive of these type of people and then pain point marketing is your vibe. But
Yeah.
if you really want to be in this high vibe community with people who are equal to you and who are on that path anyway, and you're just supporting them with what you know to be your excellence,
Mhm.
then or your zone of genius, then it is a whole different ballgame. And then
Yeah.
actually it's the type of people that I would show up for in my holiday.
Right. And I feel like that's where you get the people that you're like sitting there by yourself doing the dishes and you're like, holy shit, like I can't believe these are the people I get to work with. Like this is amazing?
Yeah. And it's
And
also
you're
a different level of commitment. There
Mhm.
was in one of the masterminds that I'm in, there was a woman who had to go to the hospital for some checkups or something,
Oh.
and it wasn't really sure what was happening. She still showed up at our call. Not
Mm.
because she had to, not because she felt pressured because she didn't have the money, but because she was laying there anyway. And she was like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to go because these are my people. I want to be there. This is cool. I am
Yeah.
shifting in my business. I still feel energy today. So let's fucking go.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
vibe. And
Yeah.
that's a tribe that I also want to have in my mastermind and that I have in my mastermind. I don't have that example of somebody going to the hospital, luckily, but I can see people showing up because they want to be there. They want to hang out. They want to learn. They want to grow. They want to be in this high vibe state. And it doesn't come from needing to be saved.
Right. Yeah. 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 I think the key is if you really want people who are in the growth mindset, who are movers, who will take what you take what you advise them to do, and they'll take what works and implement it right away. That's when you want to be dialed into the premium messaging and the premium sales and the premium offers and things like that.
And your own
100%.
premium identity. I
Yeah.
think that's
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
that's actually what I love most about business,
Mhm.
that I get to always challenge myself. How can I show up in a more premium way? How can I carry myself in a better way? And it
Yeah.
makes everyday life choices so much easier. Like today, am I going for a walk? Hell yes, because I know my premium version of me goes on walks because I want to stimulate my organs from the inside. I want to be
Yeah.
healthy. I want to have energy. And yeah, sure, there are going to be days where it's going to be harder, like today, because I'm on my period and it's
Yeah.
really like the day. So, am I still going to go for a walk? Yes, because I
It'll
know my
feel
identity
good.
to be premium.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, I love it. So, well, I know you've got to get to a meeting too. And so tell everybody where they can find you and come hang out. Cause you like I was on your weekly conscious business series, right?
Yes, conscious business breakthrough series.
That's
Yes.
it. See, yes, I forgot the B, Conscious Business Breakthroughs
CBB.
series and yesterday. So, how can people find you so they can like hear even more about selling premium offers, not just prices, like putting the slapping the high price tag on on the offer and running away.
Yes. Well, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, so you can check me out on both. Just pick your favorite platform. On both, it's Aimée Drost, so Aimee and then Drost. I'm sure you can find it somewhere here in the show notes as well.
Mhm.
Come and say hi when you follow me. Just send me a message, say that you listened to this podcast, and that like maybe share the thing that you enjoyed about it and why you decided to follow me. And I also have a podcast right now. It's actually paused, but I'm soon gonna relaunch it. I do the weekly conscious business breakthrough series, although it's not really weekly. I try to commit to it, but I do really want high quality clients as well, but high
Yeah.
quality guests. So I'm not just doing it every week because I do it every week, and I'm
Mhm.
traveling a lot, so then I take breaks as well. Um, and I have a Facebook group with 1,500 people in there, and yeah, I share my contents very consistent about all these topics. So definitely follow me and just say hi, and I'm happy to meet you there.
Awesome. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the I'm Not Salesy podcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube or listening on the airwaves, then go ahead and check out the show notes so that you can see where to follow both of us so you don't miss a thing. And I will see you next week. Bye.